Do things seem off? Trouble sleeping? Issues in your marriage, finances, or with extended family and friends? These are challenges that many men face, but you don't have to face them alone. The Men of Steel prayer group is here for you. We are a fellowship of individuals who share a common interest in the paranormal and cryptid fields, united in our quest for understanding the supernatural. Our goal is to educate and guide those curious or seeking insight into the supernatural, emphasizing the role of Jesus Christ as the supreme authority over the supernatural realm. Visit us at strongmenpraying.com to learn more. The Men of Steel prayer group, where faith and curiosity forge a stronger spirit.
Listen to me when I tell you this. As a native Nigerian, born and raised in Nigeria, it took a while for me to get used to being in America. For example, back at home in Nigeria, when I needed a ride, I would just hitchhike from point A to point B, from Providence to Providence. Now, because there wasn't the prevalence of vehicles like there is in America, back home there was this unwritten understanding that we looked out for each other. When someone was giving you a ride, with the exception of that person having to stop and see family members or friends, you went from point A to point B. And there was a certain level of trust there. So when I moved to America, I brought my old way of thinking with me, thinking that in America, people behave the way they behaved in Nigeria. And let me say this to you, I was completely and totally wrong. I am in Houston and I need a ride to New Orleans. And so I head on over to a gas station to hitchhike a ride. Run into this young man who says he's going to New Orleans and that he didn't have a problem bringing me there. He didn't want to ride all alone. Now, as I get into the vehicle with him, I offer to help him with the gas, and he says it's no problem, but he does need to make a stop in Beaumont to see a few friends. Now, when someone tells you that back home in Nigeria, it means they pull over, get out of the vehicle, shake hands, say hello, get back in the vehicle, and keep moving. Well, not in this case. We get outside of Houston, get to Beaumont, he goes to a bar room, sits down, starts having drinks with his friends. Now, pause right here and let me say this. The guy was normal but weird at the same time. And what I mean by that is, he was a normal looking guy, but he had these weird tendencies. And it was when I met the rest of his friends that I realized that he was a part of a clique of men that were just not normal. You know what I'm saying? I don't mean like in a paranormal vampire way. I mean like playing Magic the card game type way. Super duper nerdy and goofy. In fact, as they're sitting there drinking, I'm sitting at the other table, they are discussing Magic the Gathering, a game that I had absolutely never heard of. Back home, we know that magic is magic. You don't play Magic card games. Now listen to me, we stay in Beaumont from 5 until damn near 8 o'clock. Then we get back on the road. Now, as soon as we get on the road, he has to use the bathroom. So we stop at Toomey Rest Station because he has to pee. And he's talking about how he thinks he's drunk too much and he needs to sober up. And now this is where it all goes down. Imagine the scene. We pull over at the rest station, park the vehicle, and he asked me to get out with him. Now, I didn't have to pee, but I can understand the fact that he didn't want to leave me in his vehicle with the vehicle running. We don't know each other like that. So he gets out of the, I get out of the car, head to the left, and sit on one of the little benches. In the parking lot is two, count them, 1, 2, 18-wheelers. I'm sitting there looking at the signs, and it's saying that the rest station is closed. So in my mind, that meant that the restrooms were going to be closed. But hey, I'm catching a ride with this man. Who am I to tell him what to do? Now, he disappears off around the back side of the building, and I sit there. 5 minutes pass, 10 minutes pass, 15 minutes pass, and I'm saying to myself, okay, maybe he had to do a number 2 instead of a number 1. When 25 minutes pass, now I'm starting to worry because I'm saying, all right, he done went into this bathroom and got robbed or beat up or something crazy done happened to this man. I'm going to be stranded right here on the side of the road. So now I start working my way towards the back of that rest station. I go to the bathroom, open the door, and he's not inside of there. So now I come out and I'm looking around and I start to hear what sounds like something in the water in the lake behind me. This splashing sound. Now listen to me. If you're not familiar with this rest stop, look it up. Toomey Rest Station, so you can understand what I'm saying to you. It's really, really nice. There's this walkway that goes along the side of the lake, and then there's woods on each side. So now I'm headed in the direction of where I'm hearing water splashing, walking along the concrete, and I notice that there are wet prints on the ground. Stop. Listen. These are wet K9 footprints, and to make you understand how big they are, take both of your hands, spread your fingers, and make your palms flat. Slide your two thumbs together and touch your two pointer fingers together and lay that flat on the ground, and that is how big this freaking print is. To me, I'm thinking somebody has a big old wolf or dog at this rest station. But I'm saying to myself, why would somebody's dog be climbing out of the lake and walking along here? It wasn't until I took about 20 steps that I realized this is not 4 paw prints. This is only 2 prints. Like whatever this is, it's walking on 2 legs. Then I started to notice the distance between the stride. It's right as I'm noticing that distance between the stride, the difference between where the prints are placed, that I hear this growling coming from the water. Stop, pause, wiggle, spin, do whatever you're going to do right now and listen to me. There is a sound of growling coming from in the water. Now I want you to put yourself in my situation. Can you name animals that make growling sounds in the water? Understand, I'm from Nigeria. I mean, I'm very familiar with the sounds of animals, and the only thing that I could think of that would be in the water that would make a sound that got close to growling was an alligator or a crocodile. So my mind registers this whole situation as there's a gator on the other side of the rail, and I'm perfectly fine. Then, all of a sudden, out of nowhere, I see this black helicopter fly overhead, and it's flying low. And what I mean by low is I'm talking about 80 feet above me. I mean, it's so low that when it flies by, I feel the wind, and it hurts my ears. It flies directly above me and darts right over the treetops. So now, imagine the scene. I'm standing completely still, my attention on this helicopter, when I hear what sounds like something grabbing that rail. And that's when I hear what sounds like something grabbing the rail. Now I need you to understand something. It's not pitch black dark in this area. This rest station is very well lit. And as I'm turning, looking to my left towards the lake, that's when I see what looks like a freaking giant claw grabbing the rail. My eyes follow that claw down to an arm and down to a gigantic freaking wolf head. And it's right then and there that I lose it. Now let me describe to you what I mean by lose it. I don't mean standing there shaking in fear. What I mean is I see that, my brain processes it, and being from Nigeria, we know these kind of things. We know that there are real werewolves. We know that there's true dark magic, that people can transform themselves into werewolves. And so when I see that in my mind, that's a person who converted themselves into a werewolf. There is no need to stand there. There's no need to look at it. I'm off and running. So now I take off running back around. So now I take off running back around the side of the building, darting in the direction of the vehicle. I'm running full speed up to him, and I can't blame the man for what happens next, because if you see a tall, slender Nigerian person running up on you like a freaking deer, because that's how I was running, then you gonna draw your weapon too. So now he's drawn his weapon and has the flashlight on me. I'm sliding on the ground screaming, whoa, whoa, stop, stop, stop. And honestly, my accent is not helping this situation whatsoever. Now I'm on the ground. He's standing there with his weapon pointed at me, and I'm begging him, please, sir, stop, don't shoot, don't shoot. And for whatever reason, the strobe light flashes on his weapon, and I swear to you, I thought I was shot in the face. So now I'm sitting there patting my face, trying to figure out my life. I start crying, and I'm like, listen, I'm not doing you anything. Stop shooting. And when I look back up at him, he has his weapon down, and he has this look of pity and shame on his face, like he felt bad for what he had just did. And I say to him, I said, there is something back there. Something's back there. And he's just looking at me like I'm freaking crazy until he hears this growl / scream. Now, I don't know if you ever heard something growl and scream in the same breath, but it's like, grrr. I'm talking about in the same breath, except for it's way longer. Growl for about 10 seconds and elevate, the tone changes and pitches out as a scream. He looks at me, I look at him, and we're both standing there trying to figure out what the hell is going on. And that is when the gentleman who gave me the ride comes running around the front side of the building screaming at the top of his lungs, it's chasing me, it's chasing me, it's chasing me. Stop, pause right here, because what happens next is a series of events that, as I look back on it, I don't even know how the hell we survived this. Starting from the fact that I should have been shot by that man for running up on him, and then we move into this foolishness. He comes running around the front side of the building in a full sprint, but not a masculine sprint whatsoever, arms flailing through the air, runs straight to the vehicle, hops in the driver's side, cranks it up, and is about to pull off. Now remember, I'm standing up in front of this guy. I take off in a full sprint towards the vehicle, grab the door handle, hop in as he's pulling off. And listen, when I tell you this man accelerates to 100 miles an hour coming out of that rest station onto I-10 and does not stop riding at 100 miles an hour for another 5 miles. And the only reason why he slowed down is because the state troopers got on our tails. And this is when the situation really gets freaking crazy. I'm telling them, hey, listen, we need to pull over, slow down, pull over. We can't run from the police. Pull over. So he pulls the vehicle over, comes to a stop, hops out, and takes off running down the interstate. Pause, stop, rewind, listen to me. Pulls over, stops, hops out the vehicle, takes off running down the interstate. I'm still in the passenger seat of the vehicle. I don't blame him for what he did, sees this man fleeing the scene, and he walks up to the vehicle with his weapon drawn, saying, get out of the car, put your hands up. And when I tell you he was about to shoot me, I know he was about to put some bullets in me. So I'm talking to him. I'm repeating this over and over again. Sir, I'm cooperating with you. I don't want any problems. He puts handcuffs on me, throws me in the back seat, and takes off after him. So now, as we're trying to chase him down, he says, why is your friend running? And I say, sir, I need you to understand, if I explain to you what's going on, you're not going to believe me. I have no clue why he's running. We just left a rest station, and he came out of the rest station speeding 100 miles an hour. Now, it gets even more freaking insane because as we're coming up on him, he shoots across the interstate. The man runs across moving traffic. The traffic's moving 70, 75 miles an hour, and it's nighttime, and he shoots straight across the traffic into the median and keeps running. And so now the state trooper is asking me if he's on drugs. And I'm telling him, sir, I don't know if he's on drugs or not. All I know is he started behaving extremely erratic and crazy. So now he's running in the high grass on the median. And then he runs across the other side of the interstate into oncoming traffic. The trooper is on the radio. He's done gone down into the median and is waiting to be able to come up on the other side when homeboy cuts back across the interstate and starts to run into the median again. Listen to me when I tell you this was the most insane crap I've ever been involved in my life. Now we're riding along the median between the two interstates. He runs him down and literally hits him with the front of the car, knocks him over. He gets up and starts trying to run again, falls down. The trooper hops out, draws his taser, and tases this fool. Now get this, 10 minutes later, we're back at the vehicle. There are 6 state troopers there. My black ass is standing on the side of the road, and they are questioning me. He is inside of the vehicle speaking incoherent gibberish. Now imagine the scene, he's in the back of the car kicking the door. Instrad is coming, Instrad is coming, Instrad is coming. I'm the only one that's talking like they have some sense. So I lay out the whole story to him about me hitchhiking, trying to get a ride to New Orleans, about us stopping in Beaumont, about us stopping at the rest station, about him disappearing, everything. Even I lay it all out to them about the helicopter, about what I saw. And all these troopers are just staring, looking at each other. Now, the gentleman that I'm talking to takes out his cell phone, hits the button, and starts talking to Google and says, Google, what is Instrad? Now, he looks at the answer on his phone, walks over to two more officers, shows them what's on the phone, and then the whole situation takes a turn in a direction that I never would have imagined. Because from that moment on, the situation calms down drastically. Two of the state troopers get in their vehicle and just roll out. I'm talking about gone, left, not there, finito, vanished. The one that I'm talking to tells me to turn around, and he uncuffs me. Then he tells me, listen, we're going to need you to do us a favor. He says, listen, take your friend and drive him to New Orleans. You understand? Don't let him behind the wheel of this vehicle again. You drive and make sure he gets to New Orleans. Then they take him out of the backseat of their vehicle, put him into the backseat of his vehicle, and proceed to write him a ticket for speeding. Now, mind you, he was going 100 miles an hour. He should have been going to prison. In fact, we both should have been going to prison. But they write him a ticket for speeding 15 miles over the speed limit. And then he pretty much scribbles on a ticket, then balls up in the back seat. I'm standing right next to the driver's side door, keys in hand, when a trooper says, listen, I need you to get out of this area, and I need you to get out of this area now. You understand? I tell him yes, get in the vehicle, and pull off. Now I look through the rearview mirror as I'm pulling off, and they are cutting across the median. Lights and sirens on, headed back in the direction from which we came. I get to Lake Charles, pull over for gas, and he's still in the back seat talking gibberish. Talking about Instead. So I take out my cell phone and Google Instead, and guess what it pulls up? A freaking werewolf. Yes, sir. A freaking werewolf from the Magic card games. Listen, we drive from Lake Charles to Lafayette, from Lafayette to Baton Rouge, from Baton Rouge to New Orleans. When I get to my friend's house in New Orleans, I pull over and I tell him, listen, Tim, I'm gonna have to get out right here and let you go on about your business. But I want you to travel safely. Listen to me when I say this to you. This boy drives off pale as a sheet.